Hey guys, welcome back to Road Hard Restorations. Today we are going to get this 68 Mustang that has been tying up my shop for the last better part of a year into paint so we can get out of here so that way we can get back on the duster. I haven't shown this car to you guys much. There's a couple of videos on it, but I didn't do a whole series like I wanted to on this thing because I don't know how much fun it is just to watch a guy stand on a car. So let me get you up to speed where we're at with this thing. It's a 68 coupe, Mustang, obviously. It's obviously going to go red. I've already got that cowl painted. Ask, well, why'd you just paint the cowl? That's kind of weird. Well, I got all the jams painted. I got the underside of the hood. So because it goes all the way under here and then up through here. So what I'm going to do is when I paint the body, it's going to come all the way down into here. So I'm going to paint the car all together. Got the jams painted already. Did the doors separate off the car. And then painted the jams with the doors off of it. I even got up in here. Yes, I did take this out. And then this is all freshly painted underneath behind it. It's got the little gasket behind there. And then we reinstalled these. And then when I go to paint, it's going to be basically the drip rail over to the other drip rail. And same thing with the trunk. Got the rear body panel, the underside of the trunk painted separate off the car, and then got the trunk jams. So that way when I go ahead and close this down, just paint the outside. Same thing with the other door. We have a new windshield on order, so I want to get this windshield out, so that's what I'm going to start with right now. All right, what I have here is a little cutting tool. This one's actually a little dull. It's been used many times. This one is a Blue Point, part number YA109A, in case you're curious. There are other companies that make this. I'll put links down in the description where you can find one, a cheap one on Amazon. You can actually get replacement blades, which this one's in desperate need of. But basically, you slip it underneath the rubber, and you just cut. Sometimes you might have to take a second pass, especially if the blade is dull. And that's it. Looks like that. Makes it real quick work of it. It's real easy to scratch the glass and scratch your paint. That's why I'm doing this now instead of after the car's painted. Go real slow around your painted areas here. So just take your time, go all the way around the glass. And at some point you'll be able to just kind of push it right out. Just kind of work it slowly. Really helps to have a helper. And then carry it away. Oh, look at that, clean windshield. Alright, so now all we have to do is just pull this off of there. So as you can see, it was not even glued in at all. Yeah, it's just full of dirt. So this will be a good time to get this all cleaned off. That way none of this dirt will wind up in my paint now. This trim piece here probably could have came out first. There's just some screws here. It's just kind of hanging onto this a little bit tight. This dash trim piece here, we're going to need that out to put the new glass in. When you're cleaning this up, you'll be careful because this is actually the headliner here. The headliner comes out and wraps around here and is glued on there. So you want to be careful you don't disturb that unless you're changing out your headliner. So, but I'll be able to get all this dirt and gunk out of here and get it prepped ready for the new windshield. So I stripped these doors down to their bare shell. This is the door mechanism that the door handle on the inside goes to. The spring is broken, so it doesn't actually return, and it's all super worn out. This is the new one. It's got a spring in there, so it returns by itself. I'm gonna get this installed real quick. It just goes in here like so. Put it in there 3 screws, and then right here on the bottom is where the long rod attaches to, which is not on here. Got the door handle installed here. Opens right up. Opens and closes nice and easy. On to the next one. A few other little details like the hood latch. Got that installed finally. So I'll be washing this down really well, then going after it with some grease and wax remover, probably like 2 or 3 times. Make sure it's nice and clean. Once it's clean, then I'm going to go ahead and start sanding this with some 400 and get it prepped for paint. Friday we'll get the windshield in there. Saturday or Sunday, depending on how far along I get. Probably Sunday paint it. Saturday I'll probably finish prepping it, go around all the edges, and then mask it. It's going to take a couple hours to probably mask this thing up pretty well, so to get it ready for paint. And then hopefully Sunday morning get some color on this thing. So finally got the paint on the car. Time to go ahead and get it unmasked. Paint laid out pretty nice. So let's get this thing unwrapped. Got the car painted as you saw before. I got the front end back together again and started sanding it for polishing. You notice most of it's the top surfaces that collected, because that's where the dust is going to settle down. If you look down the side of the car, there's absolutely nothing in there on this door, for example. To sand, I'm using this Norton Black Ice in 1500 and then 2000. So I'm going to use this Meguiar stuff. It's the M105 and the M205. Shows you a little chart here. Extra heavy cut. Basically, this is really coarse. I'm going to sand polish with this with the wool pad, and then switch over with the foam pad with the finer cut here. And then I just got some final inspection. Basically, just kind of wipe the material off. So customer service is a big deal, and Meguiar's really stepped up. They're not sponsoring this video or anything like that, but you know, I like to give credit where credit's due. I went and bought this little clay bar kit from the local O'Reilly, and it says there's 3 clay bars in there, but it only came with 2. So I emailed their customer service on their website and said, hey, you know, I bought this thing from O'Reilly and it only had 2 bars. Should I take it back to the store and get it exchanged, or can you send me another bar? Well, I got a response the next day that said, oh, we'll send you another bar. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Right on. Awesome. Good job. Well, what came in the mail today is a whole nother box. So I got another quick detailer bottle, another microfiber towel, and 3 more bars. So they went way above and beyond. So thank you, Meguiar's. I appreciate it. You know, again, way to go above and beyond in customer service. So, but yeah, so, you know, like I said, this isn't sponsored or anything, but I just wanted to give them a shout out for stepping up with good customer service. So we appreciate that. So we're going to go ahead and use their system here. I actually bought this before I even bought that kit. Clay bar is good for overspray if you get anything on the glass or any overspray where you don't want it. I actually bought it for these guys right here because all of this stuff was painted before, and then I had it sitting on the other side over there, and I still had a little bit of overspray on it, and you can feel it was all kind of gritty. But using the clay bar, basically you just use the spray mist on there that comes with it, and then the clay bar, just basically rub it when it's wet, and then that just takes it right off and doesn't affect the paint or anything on there. So works really well. There's other brands out there, you know, you can use whatever you like, but I'm happy with their product, and now I know they have good customer service. So way to go. Oh, that's a good girl. I need to get you a bed in here. You have a place to lay down, huh? You can help me sand? You just dog slobber to wet sand? Ugh. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm looking for dirt in the paint. This quarter panel is actually pretty good. There's a little bit right here in this area here. There's one there and one there. I'd bring the camera down here and show you, but honestly it doesn't really show up in the camera very well. So that's it for the side of the quarter panel. All here is just fine. I'm going to go over the whole thing with 2000 and then buff it. You gotta be careful on your edges that you don't burn through. The edges are the easiest ones to burn through, and the top surfaces, like I showed before, are the ones that are going to have the most dirt in it because dust settles. I don't know if you can see that or not. Hopefully you can see this. There's a sag right there. Not quite a runner yet, but it wanted to. Got a little too close to it when I was making my transmission. When I was making my transition from the sail panel, I wanted to get back in here, so I went to go spray around there, and I didn't let up on the trigger enough, and I got the nozzle gun too close to the panel here and flooded it. But didn't quite run. But that was just a boo-boo. But I'll show you how I fix that. All right, I am going to fix that with a razor blade. Basically, find a good comfortable position where you can actually see. I have to take my glasses off to see, and I bend the blade a little bit so that way the edges don't catch the metal or don't catch the paint. And I just lightly drag it like so, just to cut the top of the clear off to get it smooth. And once it's roughly in line and level with the rest of the surface, then I come across with my aluminum block and then flatten it out the rest of the way, and then hit it with the 15 with the block, the aluminum block, and then the 2000, and then buff it, and it'll be invisible, disappeared. All right, you can see where I have sanded it. It's still a little bit of a unlevel right here, but I don't want to get too close to this edge because it's real easy to break through. So next step is to take that aluminum block, just kind of smooth it out a little bit, and then kind of try to flatten that the rest of the way. But it was hardly even noticeable to begin with. So that little bit right there, nobody will even see it. So I'll show you what this looks like after I sand it with a 1500 with one of those aluminum blocks. All right, there we go. You can see is a little bit of that little line right there. That's a low spot because it's still shiny. So basically, I wasn't able to hit that with the sanding block. Now I can sand this down a little bit more until this is all uniform. But I'm not going to go any past this line right here because I don't want to go up and over here. And honestly, I can't feel the run, or the sag rather, on this edge, so there's nothing here. It was all just right here. So I'm going to block this down a little bit more with the 1500, see if I can get this line around go away, and that means I know it's completely flat, and then it'll be a finished repair. Okay, I got most of that sag away. You can still see a little bit of a low spot there, evidenced by the shiny, that little shiny thing that's kind of sticking out here. But I don't dare go any further than that. That is not going to show up once I get this thing polished. I still need to hit this with some 2000. But once this is buffed, you won't see it. I don't feel anything anymore. There's nothing there. So I want to quit while I'm ahead before I burn through all the clear. I did put 3 coats on here. So, I'm certainly going through at least 1 coat, in a sense, doing all this sanding and polishing. So, but there was extra material here, so I was able to sand that off, and now it's all gone. Just that tiny little bit, and I can feel it a little bit right here. But like I said, I don't want to go up and over this because of these edges. It's real easy to burn through, and I don't want to have to, repaint this because there's no brake line anywhere like on the newer cars. So that'll be good. Sorry I didn't do video of me painting it. I was just focused on painting the car, not filming a YouTube video. So I apologize for that. In its current state right now, it has been completely wet sanded with 1500 and then again with 2000. Just did it by hand. I actually already got the driver door all buffed out because I wanted to get it assembled. But the driver's door is pretty much done. And now it's just off to, you can see how it's kind of dull, shiny, dull, shiny, extra shiny. So next up is to go ahead and start buffing it, or continue buffing on it. But let me show you some of the tools that I've been using here. Basically just some 1500, some 2000 wet sandpaper. I use these sanding block. It's a really soft sanding block. I also use these right here if I have dirt nibs, which this nice and flat and hard, and you wrap your paper around it and it works really well. If you have a concave, you have this one here. I have another one over on the bench, which I really don't use. So when you're wet sanding, you need a lot of water. I do have a bucket of pail of water right there. And I don't like to have a running hose in the garage because it just makes a mess because there's just so much water. Gets kind of everywhere. So I just use my extra pump and spray bottle, just fill it with water. This works really well while I'm sanding. I just spray it as I'm sanding. But no, in the initial wet down, I wet down the panel with just a garden sprayer. I bought this new. It's like $10 at the hardware store. And I just fill it with water and wet down the panel. And then as I'm sanding, I can spray it as needed with this. It works really well. And it doesn't make a huge mess. You can see the kind of the water staining on the ground here. It's not pooling up like it would with a garden hose. So let me show you one of my favorite new tools that I just got. Something simple. It's just a little squeegee. I got this on Amazon. It was like $10, I think, maybe $15. Anyway, I'll put a link down in the description for it. It's actually just kind of a rubbery, I don't know if it's latex or I think it's silicone rubber, but works really well. I'll give you a demonstration. It's all water and wet. It's all wet there. Basically just, and it is completely dry to the touch. This thing works really well. Squeaky clean. So if you can see the reflection in here, this is haven't been sanded or polished or anything. It's just got a slightest bit of texture that would you know, be about right for most OEM finishes. It's hardly even noticeable at all, especially in this light. But like I said, I wouldn't be sanding it if it wasn't for all of the trash that gets in the paint, which is just a byproduct of painting in your garage. So I got the big buffer, your traditional large buffer, but for areas like this where I'm working around, you know, holes, or maybe in this little contour right here, where I don't want to get a big buffer in here and risk burning these edges, I actually have this little guy right here. This is just an Astro pneumatic hand polisher, and I've got the two making a mess here. I've got the two pads. I have the wool pad here. This is actually from Buff and Shine. It came in a 3-pack. And then use this with the coarse grit compound, and then I have the foam one here for the finer detail to get the rest of the luster into the paint after you use it. After you use that, I also have the spur here, which you run this on here, and then it just kind of gets off all this dry gunk and kind of fluffs it up again, makes it good as new. Let me put you on a tripod. I'll show you what I did. What I'm going to do here. This is sanded with 2000 wet, and we'll show you what each step looks like after each one's done. All right, a couple things you want to think about when you're doing this is your pads. When you're not using them, keep them in Ziplocs, keep them clean. You don't want them getting dirty. And two, when you have a seat or a stool, make sure when you're spinning around that you're not going to smack your panel. So you got to be careful with your chairs. Now, a little goes a long way with this stuff. You also want to, just like when you're sanding or anything, you want to make sure that the buffer is going off the panel as opposed to coming around and catching that edge. Not only will it save your pad from getting torn up, it'll also help keep you from burning the edge of the paint. If you need to, if you're working on one panel and you don't want to get onto the other, you can always tape off the adjacent panel to help protect it if you need to. I realize I'm using two hands on the tool. It's not really heavy or anything, You got the weight of the hose on it, but mostly just to keep maintain control of it. Using these microfiber towels. These are actually just from Harbor Freight. They're little freebies, but they work okay. Wipe off the excess. So that's with the mini buffer. There's still a few little dull areas here and there. I can kind of see it in the light. So I'm going to go over this area here with the mini buffer again. And then when I get the big buffer out, then I'll hit this area one more time. But like I said, it works really well for doing these kinds of areas right here. Or if you need to get into this area right here, that's where the mini buffer really comes in handy, getting all these little hard to reach spots instead of getting that big old buffing pad, try to get it in there. And so I gotta do the rest of the car. All right, I'm gonna get busy. All right, guys, it has been a minute. Yeah, I started this video just before Thanksgiving. Now it's the middle, well, closer to the end of February. So yeah, Christmas, New Year's came and gone. Finally got the car done. I've been going through some stuff and just trying to get this thing done. So stopping to film and everything just would have made this whole job take that much longer. So I apologize for just skipping to the end, but I didn't want to just leave it hanging. So let me walk around the car a little bit, kind of show you what we got done. The rest of the trim and stuff, the owner is going to be taking care of all of that. But just kind of wanted to show you the end result, and we'll move on to the next project. All right, 1968 Mustang, finally done. We did a complete strip down to bare metal, epoxy prime, primer surfacer, all the body work, and another coat, a couple coats of primer surfacer, blocked it all down a couple times, reprimed. Whole 9 yards. Base coat, clear coat. Turned out beautiful, man. Absolutely gorgeous. Of course, I'm partial to Mustangs. Like I said before, the owner's going to put the bumpers and the rest of the trim, tail lights, and so forth in. But turned out nice and shiny. We're missing the screws for the side pieces here, but we can get those put on. Just a couple screws. So yeah, there it is, all done. And so he's picking it up tomorrow. Go under the hood here. Yeah, could use a little bath, but yeah. Got all the jams painted under the hood, under by the jams, door jams and all that good stuff. So I got all the windows up and working properly, and door opens and closes really nice, both sides. So yeah, really happy with how it turned out. I think it turned out really great, and I hope the owner's going to be happy with it. Like I said, he's picking it up tomorrow, and then on to the next project, which involves that little guy. Stay tuned for that. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and all that fun YouTube stuff. Helps the channel to grow, keeps me motivated to make more videos. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos here in the coming days, weeks, months. A lot of things are changing around here, so plan on doing a lot more automotive content, and here in the shop, spending a lot more time out here. Got some other things in the pipeline, so stay tuned for that. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next one.